Hey there, toy collector friends and Back to the Future fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I, the Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, will be looking at the third and final entry into the Back to the Future DeLorean Time Machine collection range produced by Welly Toys. Now, I managed to pick all three of these up for a relatively reasonable price, I would say, at a relatively recent Comic-Con in central London, where they had all three available, and because I bought all three, I got them for a collective discount, which I'm sure was still profitable for the vendor, but it was psychologically cheaper for me, so I took the offer. And I'm glad I did, because having looked at the first two in this range, and if you haven't seen those two videos, please do check them out. I've created a Back to the Future collection playlist, so it's easy to find the other two. This video will be in the exact same playlist. But the first one I really liked. The first one was the basic, simplistic DeLorean Time Machine kitted out from the first film. The second one, which had some, I will say, slightly misleading box art, because it didn't have some of the features that for the second version of the DeLorean I would have liked to have seen them incorporate. I am aware, and I know people have commented on this, that it would have required some additional engineering around the wheels, and I get that, but you know what, people would have paid for that additional engineering around the wheels. Just make sure you put in the additional engineering around the wheels, make it clear you've done it, and we'll pay the extra amount for the tooling. The majority of the car you've already made your money on, because people have probably bought the first one. So I would have been happier with that, or at the very least I would have been happy knowing that they didn't do that. I think that's more my issue, is that I had created for myself the fact that it looked like it was going to do it because the box art suggested it was going to do it, and then it didn't. And I'm aware that there are models that do it. Even the Gigawatt, the Autobot Transformers crossover with Back to the Future, it transforms from a car to a robot, and it does also have the hover mode, so it's not impossible if you put your mind to it. So that one let me down there, and it also let me down with a couple of other details which I won't go into here, because if you want to hear me whinge and moan about those, you can go and watch that video, because I don't want to whinge and moan in this video. In this video I want to be super excited, because this already looks fantastic as the Back to the Future 3 version of the DeLorean, and I'm deleting my discontent from Back to the Future 2 and I'm re-engaging my excitement for Back to the Future 3. Now again, we have, you can see the box is a little bit dilapidated, if I'm honest. It doesn't, you know, I think it's just because of the nature of the design, but it is a bit unfortunate. Looks like it's got trampled, but to be fair, that may have been me transporting it, so I won't judge, and I can probably deal with that with a little bit of glue if I'm so inclined. But yes, here we have the Wild West version, or at the very least we have the combination of the 1950s plus Wild West version, and you can already see that they have invested some time and love around the wheels in this instance. We also have the additional engine time circuitry elements that have been attached to the bonnet, although it doesn't look particularly completist in its in the straps. They seem to be a bit lackluster, but I might be doing it a disservice. I can't remember quite how it looked in the film, and maybe it's evocative enough. So it does look very, very good. Again, it's Back to the Future 3. The box doesn't give us too many spoilers. There's certainly no giveaway in terms of any additional features. Again, we can see that the doors definitely open. Can't actually see anything else, but it did say somewhere, because I read it. Oh, there it is. Accessory attached under the insert card, and interestingly, it looks like the exact same accessory from the second car. It looks like the Mr. Fusion thing. You see that there? It looks exactly like the Mr. Fusion thing. So I don't know why they're bothering with that, but I suppose it has to be a separate part for reasons. but there we are. So give me 2 seconds. Oh, let's, I didn't show you the back of the thing, and that's where there's the most fun. So there's some shots of the DeLorean, and actually now that I'm seeing that picture, those straps don't seem to go all the way to the end anyway. They're probably looped around the bonnet. So maybe, just maybe, I've done it a disservice and it does look better than I was about to think it did. Yeah, some lovely, there's some Mr. Fusion on the back, so I guess it does need to be in there to be accurate. And there's a little bit of blurb about the film. Fabulous. But let's not worry about the box or the film. Let's worry about the toy, and let's get the toy out of the box. So the box has gone. We're now on the insert, and again, this can act as a diorama. In fact, this is probably the most appropriate of the 3 dioramas that we've seen, because it is a bit of the, I mean, again, it is and it isn't. From this angle it looks okay, because there it is sort of in the desert, but if I tilt it forwards, I think you can see that there are some of the Native Americans zooming towards the camera and zooming towards the DeLorean. And the DeLorean's sideways on, so it needs to really be the other way around for it to be accurate. But that's just me becoming nitpicky, having had the last experience. You can open the flaps out so that you've got a bit of a wider display, although I don't like I think it looks a bit untidy, but it is possible if you want to broaden the display out a bit. But otherwise you can keep those tabbed in there. Another aspect of the box that looks a little bit beaten and battered, but yeah, you can do that. Once again, we can see that it is, I like that they've got a nice sort of wooden Wild West feel to the rest of the diorama, though, I will say that. It is again screwed in, so I'll need to get my screwdriver, which is on standby, and there is that Mr. Fusion thing, again a bit tucked in under the insert card as promised. Yeah, it's a bit haphazard how they've got those straps on there, but I'm not gonna focus on it too much. Right, so let me get my screwdriver into play and we shall release the DeLorean. And now we have the DeLorean completely free of its bonds and all of its plastic casing and out in the real world. And I have to say, this is a marked improvement, as you're about to see, on the second film iteration. And it also is one of those things that's a tad frustrating, because it just shows that it was well within their wheelhouse to correct at least one of the issues from the last one. So first things first, let's pop it on a bit of a spin round so we can have a little check in with it. So the core body is essentially just a massive re-release of the original. Check this out. They have the second film license plate, so we've got that here. Just get rid of some of that detritus. Why on earth couldn't we have had that on the second one? That is just a QC issue that is very, very frustrating. Yeah, that's that that burns me up, but it also makes me much happier because we now have that on the back of this one, so that has kind of appeased me a bit. Taking a look at the length of the car, we can see that it still has all of the same sort of detailing, etc., from the previous versions of this. There are some additions to that, mostly and it mostly takes place in the front portion of the vehicle, but it's nice to see the continuity of the design all the way through, so they haven't done any unnecessary tweaking. This is still, I nearly didn't take it out. I nearly thought I'm not even going to bother, because it doesn't stay. Once you put it in there, it doesn't stay. It's very, very loose, and so if you want to pick the car up and turn it over, it will get lost. So if you, my advice to myself, I wouldn't suggest anyone else does this, because that needs to be your choice. But my advice to myself would be, if I was going to keep that in there, I would probably paint it. I would probably glue it, so that it didn't go anywhere. Because quite candidly, that is the sort of thing that's going to get lost, and that is the sort of thing that then somewhere along the line people are going to go, oh yeah, no, I can't. You know, if you wanted to resell it, even if you kept the boxes, like, yeah, but where's the Mr. Fusion thing? Where's that? I need that. And, you know, fair enough. because it won't be there. So let's carry on moving it around again. The gull wing doors are again in play. And they do look really, really great. And I'm going to get it up in hand in a moment. And we have, and I'll just zoom in a little bit more for you here. We do have, you can see it there on the interior, the time circuits, all of the kit on the various dashboard paraphernalia, the various handles, the equipment, and you'll see very briefly, because it's hard to zoom in on it, the flux capacitor does sit there between the two chairs, but the same complaint as with the other two iterations of the car, it simply doesn't pop. You can't see anything. There's no, I would have personally probably put a bit of yellow on there so it picked out at least the sort of triangular filaments, the three filaments that meet in the middle, just to give it a bit of a presence, because we have to, if you're going looking for it, and who's not going to go looking for a flux capacitor in a DeLorean Time Machine, it would have been nice if it sort of stood out a bit better, but it doesn't. So it just sits there, as you can see, and that's a bit of a missed trick, because they've got that back bit coloured in silver. You can see there's some other scientific updates. There are the buttons in the roof. I don't think I've shown you those before. There's the buttons in the roof that you can see there, that are coloured in. So there's quite a bit of paint detailing, and again, you've seen now the interior there, which has got the various dials. You can see the time circuits, you can see the rear view mirror, which is actually reflective, and the various handles and brakes and time circuit activators and handbrake here. So it's a very well detailed interior. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very well detailed all over. And there's something very satisfying about closing those. Again, the side mirrors are reflective, but at the moment, I'm just going to take a minute to come to this. Look at that, Mr. Fusion. Wiggly wiggly Fusion man. That looks really good, as ever. The rear portion looks really, really good, really well done, and I'm particularly pleased that we finally have the 2015 version of the Outer Time license plate in its barcode form. It's not exactly accurate, but I'll take that, because what they gave us on the second one was not appropriate, frankly. Now we do have some new detailing here. So again, all the surrounding detailing remains the same, but we have the same. So as in we have the DMC logo. Sorry, on the grille, couldn't think of the word. We have the translucent plastic for the lighting. We have the surround detailing. I love the sort of 1950s tires and wheel trims. I love that attention to detail. We have everything you'd want to see. If I turn it over, I'm going to lose the Mr. Fusion, but the below is exactly the same moulding as the DeLoreans 1 and 2. But this brings us to our new features. First up, we have this under here, which is designed, if I remember rightly, to be part of the return home experimentations as a connecting tow bar element there. And we have the new detailing on the front, which Doc Brown knocks together. And again, this is beautifully put together. You can see the detailing there, the translucent plastic elements, the very sort of cobbled together Bakelite equipment that's been thrown together to make this work and try and get them both back to the future. If you've not seen the films, what's wrong with you? But if you've not seen the films, I won't spoil how it ends. It doesn't end necessarily how you might expect. That's all I will say, in case you think you know how it's going to end. But by all means, go and check it out, and then let me know you've watched it if you haven't watched it. I have watched it several times, all three of them. I think they're fantastic. And as I mentioned in the very first video of this series, it was a film that was, the original certainly, was a film that was very dear to me. Came along at a very important part in my life for a variety of reasons. And I would arguably say kept me going at a point where I needed to be kept going, I should say. The rolling factor here is really good. I'm conscious I felt like I was keeping hold of it. You can feel the weight and the heft of the car, but at no point does that detract from its rollability. Is rollability a word? Yes, it is. Let's just pop it round again so you can take a good old look at it. So yeah, so the Back to the Future 3, it's almost a bit like the film series. I really enjoyed the first one. I really enjoyed the second one. It was really clever and very ambitious. But, you know, there was one or two little minor glitches with it, which I think caused it some problems. And then the third one was a resounding success for me. And this feels like these cars have followed the same format. But I think this is a wonderful way to wrap up the 3 cars. And I think what I might do is, I wasn't intending to do it, but I think it might be nice if I just get the other 2 cars out, and for maybe a final summative couple of minutes worth of video elsewhere following this, I might just put the 3 of them side by side so we can just see the evolution of the time machine. And I'll promise I won't rant about the errors in the Back to the Future 2 model. What do you think? Which has been your favourite of the 3 Back to the Future models so far? Or do you want to see this video of the 3 of them so you can sort of have them side by side? I think they all have strengths. I think there's no denying that. I think it comes down to which has got the least weaknesses. And I think I know the answer. I think I know the answer to this one, for me anyway. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. And I'll probably share my thoughts on that in the triple car video, which I'll try and get done imminently and post it ASAP. But I would love to know your thoughts down below. What do you think is the better iteration of the DeLorean Time Machine? Back to the Future Part 2, or the Part 3 version that we're looking at right now? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you could, let me know why you think that. What is it about that particular iteration that makes that the version that you think is the best? And it can be from the film, or it can be the toy iteration of the version, whichever way you want to take it. I'll be just interested to hear to read your views. You've been a fantastic audience. Thank you for being my companion through this this review, if you like, or this appreciation of this Welly's Toy version of the Back to the Future Part 3 DeLorean Time Machine. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and if you haven't yet, please do drop a like to the video, and it would be fantastic if you could drop a completely free subscription so that you never miss a future, or indeed any of the past videos that it might be worth going and having a little perusal for, because I'm sure if you've enjoyed this, there may be some other stuff that you will equally enjoy elsewhere in the channel, so by all means feel free to go and have a look. In the meantime, I shall sign off and just say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.